Welcome to the Renegade Health Boss Podcast, where we push the boundaries of what's possible in health and wellness. I'm your host, Heather Gray, a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified bioenergetic practitioner. And each week we dive deep into the world of physical, mental, spiritual health, biohacking, relationships. But we're not just talking about the basics. I'm bringing you conversations with the true renegades, experts who are challenging the status quo in their fields, breaking barriers, and uncovering the real truth behind what it takes to live an incredible, joy-filled, and optimized life. If you're ready to step out of the ordinary and step into a life of extraordinary health and happiness, you're in the right place. Let's get started on this journey to becoming your own Renegade Health Boss. Before we jump in, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Dr. Nathan Bryan here with our N101 nitric oxide orally disintegrating tablet. You know, nitric oxide is a gas, so how do we deliver a bioactive gas in a solid dose form? We've created a solid dose form of bioactive gas. This lozenge, which is designed to have a resident time of 5 to 6 minutes. So you take this lozenge, you put it in your mouth, don't chew it, don't swallow it. Let it dissolve. As it's dissolving, it's releasing a certain amount of nitric oxide over a certain period of time. And that release of nitric oxide is designed to recapitulate nitric oxide production and nitric oxide signaling. So if your body can't make nitric oxide for whatever reason, this product delivers it for you. But more importantly, the technology in this lozenge recouples the NOS enzyme, so we improve endothelial function. We improve the body's ability to make nitric oxide on its own. And because it's an orally disintegrating tablet that sits on the top of the tongue and moves around, it's killing the bad bacteria. It's maintaining the diversity of the oral microbiome. We're improving the nitrate-reducing bacteria, so we're improving the oral microbiome. So this product generates nitric oxide and improves the body's ability to make nitric oxide through both pathways, endothelial nitric oxide production through restoration of the oral microbiome. There's no other product on the market that does what this product does. This is an orally disintegrating tablet that releases nitric oxide. We can quantify it, we can detect it, we can verify it. So if your body can't make nitric oxide, we do it for you. N101 activating lozenges. Get it today.
Yay! Welcome, Darlene, to the show.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. After hearing you on Dave Asprey's podcast, you had me riveted. You had me thinking of actually trying urine therapy, and I have always put my nose up at it. I have always scoffed at it. I've always, you name it. Although being a Lyme patient, mold person, there's not much I haven't tried or done or put in my body or up different areas. So I was kind of shocked at my to that subject, right? Normally I'm like, jump right in with both feet. But I would love to learn more about you. Like, how did you get into this line of work? Why did you start talking about urine therapy? And what makes you tick?
Well, I became a healthcare practitioner because my daughter was sick when she was little. She's in her early 20s now, but when she was little, after some vaccinations and other things, there was some things that were wrong. And the allopathic system didn't have any answers for me. Every time I went to the doctor or the hospital, it made it worse. And I was frustrated. I was also at the time, I was a volunteer firefighter and first responder. So I was doing medical first on hand and was seeing the kind of breakdown in the medical system. I was doing this in Canada, but similar to the States where, things are not being prevented. They're kind of waiting till the roof falls in. And, I was going to these calls of very preventable things: heart attack, stroke, anaphylactic shock, diabetic seizures, all these preventable things that, it wasn't all trauma that you would think for a 911 call. And I'm like, didn't know what to do about it at the time until my daughter got sick. And then I had to search for other answers. And then she became ill. And I didn't know what to do. I was in loss, and then a friend recommended that I go to a naturopath. And, this is like 18 years ago. I'm like, okay, I've sort of heard of that. What does, and when I did that, it changed my life around.
That's incredible.
All of a sudden the light bulb started going off, about, and I changed everything. I changed the food in the household. I changed, in helping her get better. And it took a while for her to get better because she had some major breakdown, but she did. And she is a healthy, functioning adult now and beautiful as could be. And then my son, who didn't have health problems at the time, went from an average student to above average student to excelling in absolutely everything. So making, these health changes, my light bulbs were just, a flying. And I couldn't read enough on all these subjects. And so I was reading and reading. And then I decided to go back to school. I'm like, I can't be in line with the allopathic system anymore. I have to make that jump. And I want to help other people. If other people had the information I did, their child might not be, go down the same, a really hard path. And, we want the most for our children. And then, in doing all that, it also changed my health. I, have never been healthier and happier going down this path.
Well, and I know, I love, we're going to be talking more about urine therapy, but there's no magic bullet. And I love that's how you started off with that. You had to learn, you had to change the diet and you had to do a lot of lifestyle things, and then things started putting into place. And that even your quote unquote healthy kid was able to, level up at a different level that you didn't even know at the time was even possible. So I love that point of bringing in it over and over and over again. Every single guest, there's no magic bullet. Everyone's talking about these lifestyle pieces, which is different than the allopathic model of, surgery or prescriptions, which are really your own two choices there. So thank you for bringing that piece in.
Yeah.
You told me before we got on here that you don't do a whole lot of these interviews. So how did you get involved with Dave to begin with, out of curiosity?
He reached out to me. I had done one other interview about 4 years ago when I first started my PhD thesis. It was the Yogi Healer with Kate Stillman. She does a lot of Ayurvedic pieces. And through a friend of a friend, she had found out that I was doing my PhD on this and was doing this paper. And so she interviewed me. And that was the only interview I did for 4 years. And so people are still kind of coming online with it. And in the meantime, my life kind of exploded too. And we can come back around to that, the energetics of urine and what it does for you.
Well, I would love to actually bring that point up. So then what did you, because I know we were talking about frequency and that kind of stuff before we got started. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into talking about energy and frequency and healing and all that fun stuff, because that's another favorite topic of mine.
While I was in med school, and years ago when I was trying to help my daughter, I was like, every once in a while I'd hear some spiritual things and that. And I had a hardcore line when it came to spiritual woohoo things, because I had been in the church growing up and was so against all of that. And I'm like, it sounded too churchy to me at first. And I was like, I want nothing to do with that. And so, but then the more I read, there was these kind of glimmers of spirituality, which is really frequency in a way. And nobody kind of puts the two together like that. And so I worked with, South American shaman for 4.5 years. While at the same time I was going to med school, at the same time I was raising my family, at the same time and it just kind of blew my life open. Because I was learning all this practical information about the body, of how to heal it with food, how to heal it with, herbals, how to heal it with homeopathics, how to heal it with, all these different modalities. But then when I went to the spiritual side and, worked with plant medicine and worked with a shaman and worked with how they do it in South America, it totally changed how I did things, so that now in my practice, I have two sides. I have the physical medical side of, is your blood pressure high? Is your, what's going on in your body? What are the symptoms? But then I got to look at the energetics too. And without that balance, we can't make the quantum leap to healing. We can't make that big, giant leap that we need in order to be our full expression of ourselves.
I love it. Absolutely. So what are some of your favorite frequency type modalities or tools that you use in your practice?
So when I started with tuning forks and I started with Reiki. I'm a Reiki master, and I started with access bars and I did that. But when I, started down the road of learning how to be, a healer in a different way, how do they do it? Because mental health up in the North is it's horrible. They medicate it. They don't try to heal anything. And when you're looking at the electrical system in the body, I look at us as a giant battery with these frequencies that come down and around, and then our thoughts go around that. When there's been conflict in our lives, when there's been trauma, when there's things have happened, those electrical wires get frayed. They can get holes. The light bulbs that kind of go at the intersections of those points, they can get turned on and off, and unscrewed. And when a line gets unscrewed, then sometimes that whole line can go down. So when people have issues that seem to be like they just have to live with it, no, you don't have to live with it. You have to find somebody who knows that can see you as an individual, and everybody's sprayed areas and light bulbs and everything are slightly at a different place. And then the physical symptoms that come up from that can be unique to you. So it kind of, when they say, oh, I've got this rare thing or that rare thing or this rare thing, and it doesn't matter what somebody has, because you got to look at the baseline functioning of the body. And allopathic system likes to say that everything's rare and unique and this and that. And
Right.
It's not. It's just the basic breakdown in the body.
Well, it kills me because in the beginning, doctors were gods, and then and then functional medicine came into the world, and we're like, now let's get to the root cause. But then I really think that bioenergetics stuff is more of the root cause type thing, because like you said, if we're out in our magnetic fields, if we're out in our electrical body, your supplements aren't going to work right. The food's not going to get processed properly. Like there's so many things kind of working against you. And so why, like I said, I love all of them playing together. Like I said, you have two sides, to your practice, which I think is awesome, because we do have to start implementing all these different modalities together. There's just not one of them has all the answers. And when we start playing with all the systems together, because we're just one giant system, we're not parts of systems.
Right. They like to subdivide things and have specialists for this system and a specialist for this system. On one hand, doesn't know what the other person's doing. And it creates this division in the allopathic system where the doctors know all and the patients know nothing, and they talk down to you. And I like to have it at an even space where you know about your body, you know about your history, you know about what's going on. So tell me so I can work with you and we can come up with a solution that works, so that you can be your healthiest.
Absolutely. Amen. This is a good spot. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive in to the wonderful world of urine therapy. Like I said, again, there's not much I haven't done. And for some reason, that one, I really was like hard pass. And then I heard you speak so eloquently about it on Dave's show. I don't normally chase down Dave's guests. That's not my MO, but you were just fascinating. I felt a camaraderie through the speaker with you that I was just like, I have to know this woman and I have to know more about her. So I appreciate you, accepting my invite to come on and to explore this topic deeper. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey there. I used to not be able to drink coffee. I always reacted to it horribly. It hurt my stomach. It made me over jittery and would inflame me and cause histamine issues. But not anymore. Since I started drinking Danger Coffee by Dave Asprey. It's his next level of coffees. He came out with Bulletproof, and now this is the next level up. So it is mold-free, toxin-free, and he infuses it with minerals and electrolytes. So unlike other coffees, they can actually pull minerals and electrolytes from your system because it's too acidic. It actually helps replenish those. And so I don't react to it at all. I get to have my Bulletproof coffee with my MCC oil and my grass-fed butter, and I don't get the jitters, I don't get the crashes, and I love how focused and energized it makes me feel. Again, non-toxic, mold-free, infused with minerals and electrolytes. I absolutely love Danger Coffee. Make sure to check out my website, thelyboss.com. Go to the resource section and get yours. Yay, welcome back. Now we're going to dive deeper into the wonderful world of urine therapy. So we know how you got started kind of in your health path and your health journey. So where did the urine stuff come from?
So, a client become friend of mine, Megan McDonald, and I have another interview with her because she has become a health expert in urine therapy too. We met at a gathering, and she said, I have been practicing urine therapy. So this was, I'm going to say like 8-9 years ago now, maybe 8. And she's like, I've been practicing this urine therapy, and my family's really concerned. And she's like, I think I'm really healthy. She's like, are you open to checking me out and seeing how everything is, if I'm good? I'm like, sure. Come to my office. And, I did her blood work. I did a physical. Checked everything out. She was great. She was more than healthy. And so that made me, I had read about urine therapy a few years before that, like when I first got started helping my daughter and that, I just kept pushing it out of the way. I was just like, that can't be serious. That can't be real. And so when Megan said, check me out. And I checked her out. And for the amount of urine she was drinking, she was eating less and less. She was so healthy. Like everything was just spot on. There was no inflammation in the body. There was, everything was. And I was like, what are you, so I had to know more. So then she's like, read these books. I read the books. And then had already declared my thesis topic on neuroplasticity. And I had to reapply and change my topic. I'm like, there's something really here and I need to change it. So that, everybody can know the benefits. Because I think everybody has a hard wall up against it because we're not understanding the division between elimination and the urine, where the urine eliminates. The urine is coming from the kidneys. It's plasma ultrafiltrate. It's released and cleaned. So it's your plasma with all the vitamins and minerals and hormones and stem cells, and it's cleaned. And it is sterile when it comes out. People think it's dirty and full of bacteria and that. It is not the same as the feces that comes out of you, that goes through your intestinal tract with the bacteria and everything.
And that's the funny thing is because I've had gut issues my whole life. I basically have been constipated since I was 4, and I have actually, contemplated doing the fecal transplant thing, because I've heard some really great results for people with trashed guts like myself, having good things. And I was like, well, I'm willing to swallow somebody else's, poop capsule. Like, why am I having such a hard time? And I think part of it is too, is I do put it in that same vein as it's eliminated from our body. Why would we put it back in?
And so this is where we get, even though the study doesn't focus on the energetics of the urine, where I like to think of it as, your own personal medicine. So there is, you'll take, a stranger's made up food, but you won't take your own medicine, and there's something kind of spiritual about that. It's everything you need. It's homeopathic. So there's a bit of something that's off, that it's going to come out in the urine, and that's good because it gives you a little bit of the homeopathic cures, so that you can get the medicine you need, you can get the extra vitamins and minerals you need, and then eliminate again what you don't need. But my main focus was the stem cells. There are all these stem cells in the urine. And in the allopathic system, they like you to think that stem cells can only come from the spine. It's a really hard, expensive process. It's only, this makes it easily available to everybody. This makes stem cells available to everybody and anybody, no matter where you are, even if you don't have running water.
That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, and it's funny too, because I love the way that you administer it. You had talked about it doing it rectally, with the clients that you did some experiments on. And I was like, I do coffee enemas, I've put MMS up my rear end to get rid of rope parasites. I've put ozone up my rear end to get rid of parasites. I'm like, so that didn't bother me as much. I still don't know if I could get around drinking it. I'm still not there yet, but I did do about a week's experiment after listening to you on Dave's show, of doing, what did you say? Was it 1 teaspoon or 2 teaspoons?
1 teaspoon, 5 milliliters.
So, 1 teaspoon once a day for about 5 days. I didn't notice a whole lot of change. I probably should have done it longer, is be my guess. I noticed it hurt my stomach a little bit. I don't know if is that a detox.
I would say that's a detox symptom. And why I chose rectally is not only because some people, getting over the gross factor of it, but if somebody has a digestive problem, getting to the where it needs to go can be problem, cause more irritation in the stomach, which then causes more histamine reaction in the body and inflammation. So by doing it rectally, it can go up the portal valve to the liver and get, it can clean out gunk. It can, put those stem cells in there for regenerative purposes so that your liver can be squeaky clean.
How long do you say that it normally takes people to see results doing it that way?
So I had people do it for 2 weeks, and it was 2-week-old urine. So for consistency for the study, they did 2 weeks, they took in a jar, separate jars, they took 2-week-old urine. So it was exactly 2 weeks old urine every day for 2 weeks, just for consistency of the study. It doesn't have to be that way. That was just to make everything consistent so everybody was doing the same in the study.
So would you be able then to say, do a bunch of urine that you put aside for 2 weeks, or does it have to be a little bit that you're taking every day?
No, I would put it all in a jar, take a little bit every day, put it all in a jar. And the older it is, the better. The older it becomes its own ecosystem. It never goes bad. It has more, the older it is, the more stem cells are in it. But also the older it is, the stronger it is. So this is, if people are doing it for themselves, I caution people to go easy with how old it is and how much you're doing, and look for detox reactions. So
I couldn't believe how much it was hurting my gut. And I was, and being a Lyme person, I kind of know that when you start to get those types of symptoms, that it's usually because something's working. But yeah, man, I couldn't, the smell, holy shnikes, like 2-week-old urine, like it's
pretty bright.
That's something else.
But it's the ammonia, it's the hydrogen, it's right. But, all the medications that we take, they derive medications from our urine all the time. It's no secret.
Can you go further into that? So just in case, that was the first I was hearing that they're actually using it in skincare products, right? That they're using it in medications. I kind of knew that was like the Premarin mares, right? That was so horrible, those poor animals. But they were taking, urine of pregnant mares, and we were using it as hormone, therapy to help with hot flashes and stuff like that. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the different areas that are already being used, that are using urine therapy that we may not be privy to?
When people donate their blood, they think they're doing a good cause, and I'd like to think they are, but only 20% of the donated blood actually goes back into the hospital system. The rest is sold to drug companies, and I don't know what else, that's kept under wraps, but it is, there's signed contracts that have been, you don't have to dig too deep to find from Johnson & Johnson and different porta potty companies that they're taking people's urine and using them. And that's why they have the separate little guy one, because then you can subdivide it easier. Why do you need a little guy urinal in a porta potty? It's a porta potty.
So what are these uses? What are they using it for?
So they use it for skincare. A lot of medications, have different elements of the urine in it. So they'll take out some enzymes, they'll take out some amino acids, they'll take out some hormones, and they'll subdivide it. So they don't have to call it urine anymore. It's just, this substrate.
Bits and pieces. Fascinating. I think that was the other part that really got me on board, is when you were talking about that it's an Ayurvedic, practice that has been used for thousands of years. Like, I was dumbfounded by that. I was shocked. I've had some research in Ayurveda and some, other ancient, stuff. And I was just shocked that I've never ran across it before. So could you talk a little bit more to that?
Yeah. So in Ayurveda and in Chinese medicine, they've been using it for 3,000 to 5,000 years, maybe more. That's the documented that we can find. In Ayurveda, they like to put it on their skin, especially because of the hot sun. It's a good sunscreen against the hot sun. It doesn't, it protects the skin. It rejuvenates the cells faster. I put it on my skin daily. And then what I do is I take incense for any smell so that, I'm smelling fresh and ready to go.
I was just going to get ready to ask you that. It's like, what? So you're using it on your skin. Do you walk past me and I go, damn, she smells like a porta potty?
Right? No, I don't want to smell like a porta potty. I don't want to, but the age. So I've got I got at least 6 months, aged, that's pretty ripe. And I just put a couple drops in my hand. I have another oil blend. I tend to have drier skin. So I have an oil blend that I've made myself with some carrier oils and essential oils. And I put a couple drops of that in and mix it together and rub it all over. And then any remaining lingering, I just take an incense stick and just kind of, put it around, and it's gone because it dries into your skin, right? So that smell doesn't stay. That smells because of the freshness and that. But once it's absorbed into the skin, you're not going to smell.
Fascinating, because you said too that there are already big cosmetic companies that are using urea in their skincare products.
That is common practice, like $200 skin creams. They're using other people's pee or animal pee. Why not use your own? For free.
Yeah, right. I like that word, especially like being a biohacker, right? You're on your show, biohacker. A lot of biohacking tools are either free or they're stupid expensive, right? There doesn't have to be a whole lot of in between. And so I love those free ones. And I have found that Mother Nature, between grounding and the sun and all kinds of things, have given us what we need. But this particular lifestyle that we're living is not conducive to human health.
And that's what I was wanting to look into. I'm like, it's good to do all the preventative, but what happens when there's a major breakdown in the body? Then what? How do you fix that major breakdown in the body? Well, this is why I wanted to look into the urine, because it can go into the liver and start regenerating different things in the body. That is the aha. That is the, because we don't age just because we're getting old and everything eventually dies. We age because there's lack of turnover of the cells in the body. And so if we can give all our body, the cells, what it needs, it's the vitamins, the minerals, the hormones, everything that it needs to make that new cell group and make it healthy and whole, then, we're not going to break down as fast. And it's not about the amount of years we live. It's about the quality while we're here. We shouldn't need a walker. We shouldn't need canes. We shouldn't need, help as we age. It shouldn't be a painful thing. There should never be any pain in the body ever.
That's crazy. I think that was part of the reason
ever.
You're coming back. Okay. I think that was one of the reasons I jumped in, is because I've been dealing with some wicked plantar fasciitis for about the past month, where I am limping, I am hobbling, and I'm like, at this point, I'm willing to try anything. I probably didn't give it enough of a chance before I was like, okay, I'm done. But now, actually, talking to you again, I'm kind of like, all right, I need to try this again.
But any plantar fasciitis or bunions and all those tend to be the uric acid levels that tend to be up. So I'd check your uric acid levels for that.
I have, and they're beautiful. They were low the last time I had a lab done on them.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
I going down the rabbit hole after listening to you, there's some Facebook groups and people are putting it in their eyes and they're snorting it. Are there actual benefits behind that, or is that just kind of people taking things too far?
Well, and this again says, what do you need as an individual? Where has your health deteriorated? Do you have lung problems? Do you have sinus problems? Where is the breakdown in your body for what you need? For me, and I talked about this a bit with Dave, is I had an operation on the inside of my nose when I was a child. I had chronic nosebleeds, and in all their wisdom, they just cauterized all the veins in the nose, which left massive scar tissue on the inside of the nose. So I was taking fresh urine with some salt water, putting it together in a neti pot and rinsing out my nose. And all of that scar tissue is now healed except for one little part.
Shut up. That's incredible. So what are some of the traditional benefits that people do urine therapy for?
Like which types? So some people put it in their eyes if they've got eye issues. In Ayurvedic, they mostly put it on the skin. And then some swear by drinking in the morning. So every tradition has a slightly different way of going about it as part of their culture. Some in Ayurvedic, especially in India, long travelers, after a long travel, they would give their travelers their aged urine so that they could refresh themselves, revigorate themselves. And they would put it on their skin and sit in the sun and get renewed from their long journey.
That's crazy. So we got stem cell rejuvenation, longevity,
but also
liver support. What else?
There's burns. So everybody knows you can put it on a jellyfish sting. Well, a jellyfish sting is a burn. And if it wasn't sterile, you wouldn't be able to put it on a burn, because burns kind of, when the epithelial is opened, that makes you susceptible to infection. And so it is sterile that you can put on these burns. I met a woman that said she had third-degree burns all over her, and she did wet compresses every day of urine, and there's no scars, absolutely no scarring. Because burns, the skin doesn't rejuvenate the same. It loses its elasticity. It's very hard for people, and they have to go through these really extensive stretching of the skin and treatments, which are really painful, and it never seems to come back properly. If you could do it at the time of the burn, it heals within a couple days, depending on the severity, of course. My wife, she burnt her hand, and I'm like, I looked at it and it was starting to blister, and I'm like, oh, you're going to have to put urine on that. And she's still kind of, seem okay. And she knew she was going to have to do it. And so she just used mine because she didn't have any aged saved. And she just kind of, ran it over her hand into a dish, and she just kept running it over. And within 20 minutes, the pain was gone. And then within a couple of days, there was not even a mark on her hand.
Unbelievable. So I know it is tough to get family on board sometimes. And you mentioned having a daughter and a son. Do either one of them practice urine therapy?
No, they do not.
No?
They do not.
It's such a bummer when you have family and you're like, but I can do so good. And they're just like fighting you.
And this is the thing, and I've had to do that with everything when it comes to family. If they are not up for it, I have to be okay with their choices.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't be pushy, and I know I could have helped you, and I know I could have helped this, and I know I could have. That's your choice of what your belief system is. And if you want to, kind of put up a wall to there's alternatives, and this is why these are called alternative treatments. There's alternatives. You don't have to live with the pain. You don't have to live with disease. You don't have to live with the breakdown of the body. There's things you can do, and it doesn't take away from your quality of life.
How old are you?
I just turned 50.
Shut up. You look great. I was like, I could just tell from the way that you spoke and your older kids that you were closer to around my age, and you look great.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's not just about looks, it's about how you feel, because as you age, you don't want all these aches and pains to take over the body. And this is where, the physical and the energetic. So some of the aches and pains can be energetic related and the frequency related. And so now when I do frequency work, I do it with my hands rather than tuning forks. I do it with some with singing bowls, and I do it with my voice.
Nice. So let's talk about the energetics of urine, since we're kind of going in that direction now. You had kind of mentioned something about the energetics of urine. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So there is a certain, I think, God molecule in urine that is from you. It is you. It's the water, and they talk about that in The Water of Life. They talk about that in a number of books, that it is something gets activated in you that, could take like 10 years of meditation to achieve. And all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, I feel it. I feel the connection. I feel my inner power. I feel whole again. I feel absolutely whole as a person.
Wouldn't that be a gift?
Right. And I think everybody should meditate, but also, by taking the urine, there's something that just kind of sparks open. It kind of, is the energetic seal to some of those frayed wires I was talking about. And so you can get people like me or other practitioners that knows the electrical system of the body to help fix some of those wires. But then how can you do it for yourself so that they stay, heat sealed, that they don't pop open again, 2 weeks later, that, you make that shift and you stay there.
That's incredible. There's just so many questions I have. This is just, I don't know why I find this so fascinating, because for the longest time, like I said, I was just like, nope, nope, nope. But you broke something open in me. What other type of modalities do you like to use in conjunction with people when you're working with people?
I use all different modalities. For every visit, I like to do some energy work, because I can say you can go off and take this supplement, change this lifestyle thing, but unless we do some energy work and then I send them home with also some breath work, unless we do that energy work, it's harder to make those jumps, as we talked about before, with the supplement. So energy work, and I see energy work because I've worked with the shamans and stuff like that. And I have a good connection with my guides and I have a good connection with your guides. And so I can see where the breaks are in that energetic system. And I think more and more people are going to be able to do that, is be able to see it. So it's similar to getting your Akashic records done, but it's more on this plane, what's going on with your energetic system of your physical body.
So I didn't realize, so would you call yourself like a medical intuitive?
Yes, I would, even though I don't put that, I like I like people to take me, the people that are kind of on the edge. I want people to take me seriously. So, I've done all this training, but without acknowledging the energetics, it's limited. It's limited to preventative care. There's not this, what happens when there's major breakdown in the body? How do you fix, major disease? How do you, and it is very fixed. Everything, as long as your heart's still beating, everything can be fixed. There is no, I don't think there's any limitation. Some things take longer than others. It might be a couple of years rather than, a couple of weeks. Because again, those cells have to have their turnover time and they have to, but the more we are connected with our inner being. So to me, our inner being is where our heart meets the universe, meets our soul. All three of those are kind of connected, and that's our home. And when we feel that connection, we have all the information we need, and we have, full strength in ourself and our power, and that we can create the life of our dreams.
Absolutely. When you're working with your clients, do you have a hard time getting them to understand the benefits of urine therapy? Or are they just kind of like myself, so sick for so long, they're like, whatever, I'll try anything as long as I can feel better?
I try to meet people where they're at. And if they're not into urine therapy, then that's okay. And then once, we fix some other things. And if some things are just not coming, getting corrected, I'll say, okay, now I can remind you again about this. All this worked, but you're having trouble getting over this hump. Let's try this. And then they're more receptive if we've had other successes.
Oh, that totally makes sense. Run us just a little like how to get started. If you're curious about urine therapy, like how do you typically start people?
You can pee in a cup, dip your finger in, and put it on your tongue, and that's it. And realize that you're not going to die. That's step one.
See, I couldn't even go that far. Like I said, getting it near my mouth. And no, not yet. I'm not there yet, but I can shove a teaspoon up my butt. No problem.
Right. And so you can use a needleless syringe and put, a tiny bit up and see if you have any reactions. And again, this starts slow because it's for long-term health. It's not for, do it and never do it again. Depending on what's going on, it can be a regular practice, just like meditation's a regular practice, whether you need to do it once a week, once a month, or you do a part of your detox every 6 months, it can become a practice of, injecting a little bit.
Gotcha. And then, so we're getting close to time here. What are some last little nuggets that you kind of want to leave people with?
Whatever's going on with you, you can fix it. Start slow. And if you need help, find a practitioner that's willing to work with you, that actually is willing to work with you and not just telling you what to do, that, is willing to go back and forth and really find solutions for you, because there's always solutions to everything. Don't think I just have to live with it. It's, that belief structure has to be yanked out of the healthcare system, that it's just something I have to live with.
How's your life changed after being on Dave's show? Have you noticed like an uptick of people reaching out to you to be on their show? Have you gotten more clients out of it? Like, how's things changed?
Yeah, definitely. I've had more people reaching out to me and emailing me, but I was having regular people email me from that original email I did.
Oh, nice.
The bigger change I've had is just by doing the study. And I haven't even finished the study because my life kind of exploded energetically. There is a healer-healee relationship that kind of goes back and forth. So if I'm helping somebody else, they're helping me energetically. And there's this relationship that is symbiotic. It is not, out of proportion. It's a symbiotic relationship. So when I had, 12 people finish this study simultaneously, and then all of a sudden they're having better and better detox reactions. They were detoxing well after the month after that I thought it was going to be. They were detoxing 3 months, 4 months after still, even though they stopped doing it. And I energetically had this kind of, I can't even explain it. My life just got better. Everything got better. And I moved to South America. I took anybody that wanted to come with me. I had this huge booming practice. And I said, for my health, I need to do things differently. And I put everything online. So if anybody wants to reach out to me online, I do take people online still.
Where at in South Africa? I want to go visit.
South America, not South Africa.
America, sorry. Why would I visit anywhere? I have a freaking passport that I haven't used.
Bro, you've got to get traveling.
I know.
What I needed for me, because I kind of energetically exploded, is I needed more nature. I needed more connection. I needed times that I could sit and meditate and not have to worry about the winter and bundling up. And
so where are you at?
So I'm in Guatemala right now.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you speak Spanish?
It's getting better. I'm working on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Almost had my husband talked into moving to a place in Mexico. I can't remember where it was right now. The cost of living was better. It was, next to the ocean. It was fresh food. It was like, yes, please. Yes, please. And I know how much how important it is for human health. And he is a man that hasn't had a whole lot of like deep friendships his whole life. And he just recently started playing disc golf. And he has a disc golf community here now. And he's like, I can't leave. I was like, I can't leave disc golf. Shit. Because he looked it up in that area in Mexico and there was like no disc golf things going on.
Right. So, right, but there's other communities you could create. And so I'm spending time on my music now. I'm spending time on, I am writing a book on frequency, and I'm going to finish my PhD. I just had to come and settle and kind of integrate into my new life.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What's your wife think about it down there?
She loves it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, that was the part that I wanted to retouch on. So this study that you did, the paper that you wrote on. So what were the benefits that these 12 people experienced?
So they saw an increase in oxygen. They saw a decrease in inflammation in the body. They saw a decrease in blood pressure. They saw an increase in mood, better sleep. Like there was so many different things that I tested on that just improved for everybody across the board. It wasn't just one or two people here and there and bits and pieces. Because I like to think everybody's kind of have different things that they're working on, but everybody's wherever they were at seemed to improve slightly.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So the shameless plug time of the show, where can people find you? How can people learn more about all the fun stuff that you're up to and work with you?
Yeah, so I'm at darleneteahen.ca or vitalityexpert.ca. And that is my handle on Instagram too, Vitality Expert.
Vitality Expert. Can't spell all of a sudden. Yes, I'm going to have to look that up. Actually, I think that's how I reached out to you originally, was on Instagram. But I wanted to say thank you again for accepting my invitation to dive deeper into this subject, because like I said, so you recorded this with Dave before his big biohacking conference, which I was at. and then just saw again all the amazing people and tools and health and everything that they're doing. And so I mean, I've been a Dave fan for 15 years. I was even a bigger Dave fan after his conference. And then this episode came out after the conference, and Dave was talking about how he was going to try it afterwards. And it was right around the same time I was listening to it. So I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, right now me and Dave could be shoving urine up our asses. It was just this awesome bonding moment. But it's good enough for him. It's good enough for me. And like I said, thank you for putting it in a way that took away some of the ick factor, had some of the science behind it. You just really put it in a way that nobody has been able to get through to me about this subject before. So I just really want to say thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And, I love to carry on the conversation anytime, because I don't think, I think this is just the beginning. I had to do a baseline study just to start it, but there's so many different studies that could be done for different areas, for cancer, for neonatal, for, all these different places of where it could be beneficial.
Well, yeah. And that was the thing that I loved about it with that Dave was doing, is he said that when he was doing it, injecting it intramuscularly to help him relieve some of his mold symptoms, especially it's so hard being a moldy when we travel. A lot of the hotel rooms have got mold, and how great would it be that if I didn't have such a freaking canary in the coal mine reaction when I went out. And that's another benefit to urine, is it can act like a homeopathic, to kind of help desensitize you to these things that you have issues with, and I just thought that was brilliant. Have you ever known anybody to use that urine therapy for desensitizing for allergy type stuff?
Absolutely. I'm working with different people around the world, and there's one woman in particular. She's got some severe allergies. And in the last year and a half that we've been working on things, we had to kind of restructure her digestive system to begin with. But now that she's able to go back to the urine therapy, that we've healed some other things, there's a real reduction in her allergic reaction symptoms. Like she would get if she had an allergy symptom, she would get so fatigued, she would have to sleep for a few days, which, then caused a chronic fatigue issue in the body. And so she had a very limited diet because she was allergic to everything. And, we had to build everything back up, and now she's back taking courses, almost back to work. She it's really good to see that transition of somebody who was so sick they couldn't work to now being able to work again.
That's incredible. Yay, that's absolutely incredible. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And if you liked any part of this show, if any of it inspired you, make sure to like, share, subscribe, because that is how we get this information out into the world, and people can stop suffering from things like, allergies and Alzheimer's and things that people aches and pains and that people think are just because of aging. No, it's because things are breaking down that aren't supposed to be breaking down. We don't have to end up that way. And so make sure to reach out to Darlene and have a healthy day. Thanks for joining us. If you learned anything, even one little nugget in any episode, please do not keep us a secret. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a review on Apple, on Spotify. That is how we get this information out there, and we change this paradigm one person at a time. I can't do it by myself. I need your help. Also, make sure to know that disclaimer, anything that you hear on this, you cannot hold Discovering Health LLC, Renegade Health Boss, The Line Boss, Heather Gray liable for anything. Always consult your doctor before doing anything new. Do not take this as medical advice. This is your disclaimer. And then also, if you want to know the foundations of health, right? All that I talk about on how I get healthy, the absolute foundation, sleep, diet, exercise, what to eat, toxins, how to detox mold, all of it. You can get it in your own course at rhbcourses.com, right? Start your healing journey today as little as $79. Start today, rhbcourses.com. Stay tuned, and thanks for joining us.